A guy, I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. Fuck that, Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No.
No? You think 50?
No.
Lil Meech?
No.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to. And if he was a real friend to Meech.
50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech on. February 13th, get your tickets right now, it's going down. We know Florida gonna be there, Miami gonna be there. The legend himself gonna be in the building, making history. Meech, who else coming?
The whole nation, Detroit, St. Louis, California, everybody. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, stand up.
Woo. We're gonna make history. Get your tickets right now.
Rick Ross just flipped the script and used Big Meech like a pawn in what's being called a $120 million hustle. And now 50 Cent out here roasting the whole situation like it's comedy night. The wildest part, the streets been whispering this scam was bound to happen. Everybody could see it from a mile away. Everybody except Meech himself. Ross came through dangling promises, flashing movie contracts, dropping talks of massive projects and selling dreams like candy. Then when the smoke cleared, Meech and his son standing there empty-handed looking broke, while Ross is still shining, still eating, lounging in luxury mansions like nothing ever happened. And if you've been tuned into them street conversations, you'd already know the roots of this play. After Big Meech walked out of prison last October, the city buzzed heavy. People thought the legend's real comeback was finally loading, that he was about to take the streets back by storm. Everyone expected a major move, a statement. Then out of nowhere, Rick Ross popped up talking reckless and promising the world $120 million films, mega projects, fat deals, and all that noise.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking,
On paper, it looked like Meech was finally about to eat good off his own legacy, finally cash in on the empire he built with blood, sweat, and years of hustle. The blueprint looked perfect. The stage was set. But when the smoke cleared, nothing came through, not even crumbs. Ross didn't deliver a single thing he promised. Instead, he used the Meech brand like a shiny prop, flexing it in his ongoing battle against his longtime rival 50 Cent, trying to make himself look bigger than he really was. But the streets weren't fooled for a second. Folks been side-eyeing Ross from day one, whispering that all those promises were just clout chasing. Why? Because everybody already knew who was putting in the real work behind the scenes. 50. He's the one who invested real money into the BMF show, paid for Lil Meech's acting classes, and opened real doors that actually gave the kid a career. Meanwhile, Ross came with nothing but empty hype and a temporary PR boost. Still, Meech leaned toward Ross, ignoring the man who truly held him down, and that move rubbed insiders the wrong way. Tony Yayo even called it straight, saying, 50 been riding with Lil Meech from the jump, no sugarcoating, no fronting, just facts.
You know, but when you take Lil Meech and you put him in acting school, you know, you take him from Detroit. I remember him rapping when he was rapping and nobody was helping him from what I seen. Cause I remember when Lil Meech was rapping. Nobody helped him, and then 50 put him in acting school, kept it on the low, and he made all this money.
Now the latest word floating heavy on the streets is that Meech is feeling the pressure, frustrated, pockets looking shaky, and slowly realizing Ross linked up with him for one reason only, to keep firing shots at 50 Cent. It wasn't about loyalty, it wasn't about respect. It was just about stirring the pot and keeping the feud alive. And now the optics got Meech looking more like a pawn than a king. Instead of leveling up and reclaiming his throne, he's stuck in the middle of somebody else's personal war, and that's exactly when 50 Cent decided he was done playing quiet. From his own troll playbook, 50 fired a shot saying Ross told Lil Meech to hand over his father's address so he could send some Wingstop wings. But that jab wasn't just comedy, it was a statement. 50 was basically telling the world that Ross wasn't feeding Meech anything of value, just scraps dressed up as flavor. and the joke stung extra hard because it mirrored reality a little too closely. Then things really escalated. 50 doubled down, dropping wild claims about Lil Meech's personal struggles. He said he had to personally send the kid to rehab, that Meech was showing up on set intoxicated, even throwing up during a weapons test, unable to keep himself together. Then came the story about the whippets found in his truck. 50 laughed at his own confusion, admitting he had to Google what whippets even were. That's when 50 flipped the narrative, painting himself as the responsible one, the grown man in the room, stepping in to keep Lil Meech from crashing out, while Ross and Big Meech were hyping up the same habits tearing him down. Yet after all of that, Lil Meech still leaned toward Ross, spotted partying with him in clubs like none of 50's words mattered. Now the streets are on fire, roasting the whole Big Meech legacy, saying this so-called alliance with Ross crumbled faster than anybody expected. The respect Meech once carried is now being questioned heavy, with people pointing out how messy the whole link-up looks in hindsight. And then came a voice that really shook the room. Michael Rainey Jr., one of 50's own power stars. He didn't hold back, stepping up bold and saying flat out he don't feel sorry for Lil Meech or Big Meech, because grown men should have seen this play coming from miles away.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright.
That clip spread like wildfire, and word is 50 doubled down as soon as he caught wind of it, fully standing behind Rainey's words and stamping the narrative that the whole Meech camp was looking shaky and weak. And truth be told, Ross leaving people hanging ain't exactly a fresh storyline. It's allegedly been part of his playbook for years. Folks bring up how he already pulled the same stunt on his own crew up in Canada, dipping out and leaving his boys to get jumped, only to slide back later claiming it was some kind of test of strength. Cold move, and that's Ross's M.O. People been saying he's been moving grimy from the very beginning. Then Wack 100 jumped into the conversation, blasting Ross as the real villain behind the curtain. Wack said Ross never been a true friend to Big Meech, just a manipulator who used his name like a pawn to throw shade at 50. He pointed out that if Ross was really about helping, he would have kept it quiet, handled business in silence, and actually built something solid with Meech. Instead, Ross broadcasted everything loud for the cameras, turning it into a circus all about his own shine and clout.
Guy, I don't think there's a bad guy.
No, yes it is. That Vlad, let's talk about it.
I think Meech is the one that made a mistake.
No,
No? You think 50?
no,
Lil Meech.
no.
Who am I forgetting now?
Rick Ross knew perfectly damn well what he was doing and what that would lead to. And if he was a real friend to Meech, unless he was looking to get 50 out the way, he would have dealt with Meech in the shadows, because he knows me and this dude who is gonna react if he sees me dealing with this dude that he has business with. And there was a lot of business left to be done, right? Rick Ross, bro, could have done whatever he was gonna do in the shadows if he really honored and respected Meech. Trust me, Meech wished none of this was going on.
And that right there told the whole story loud and clear. Ross was never in it for Meech, he was always in it for himself. Ross already knew the play before he even ran it. He gassed Meech up heavy, talking stacked bread, building empires, throwing around big numbers, all while parading him like a trophy just to boost his own clout. Behind the scenes, Ross was slowly twisting the knife, low-key trying to turn Meech against 50 Cent, the one man who actually had his back from the start. When the smoke finally cleared, it was all just smoke with no fire, no real substance. Ross went silent on Meek, leaving him dangling with nothing to show for it. The hype disappeared overnight, and suddenly the truth was impossible to ignore. Ross only pushes moves that fatten his own pockets. Meech was no longer part of that plan. Word on the block even says Ross was behind the cancellation of Meech's Welcome Home benefit concert, a move that left people wrongly pointing fingers at 50. But insiders swear the truth is, Ross didn't want Meech to have a successful comeback. He wanted him sidelined, forced to sit in the shadows while Ross played the social media hero. That's not support, that's betrayal. And the fallout hit hard. Instead of rewriting his legend, Meech walked himself into a mess that had folks stop rocking with him altogether. Things only got uglier when Meech tried firing back, calling 50 an internet gangster, claiming all he did was troll behind a phone. But nobody bought into that weak swing. The streets called it out instantly. It was straight up damage control. And by that point, the clowning already stuck to Meech's name.
I wasn't gonna address this, because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
And when you look closer at the receipts, Ross's whole history screams the same exact pattern. That BMF track had Meech convinced Ross was really riding for him, like they were family, like there was a real bond in the making. But what if that was the setup all along? What if Ross never wanted to honor Meech, but instead wanted to become Big Meech in the eyes of the culture? It fits the story too perfectly, cause Ross been building his entire rap brand off names and legacies that weren't his from day one. And none of this is even surprising. It's documented in black and white. His whole persona was lifted from the real Rick Ross, the heavy hitter who was behind bars while rapper Ross ran wild with his identity. And when the real Rick Ross came home, he wasted no time, called him out publicly, and even tried suing him for stealing the name and image.
Have you ever seen anybody confront Rick Ross about you?
Not in person, no. Anytime I'm around, he disappears.
But is there any video of anybody like, hey, why are you running around with this dude's name?
Ross pulled the same trick again with Larry Hoover, dropping the man's name in lyrics while Hoover sat locked behind bars, stacking clout and dollars off somebody else's legacy. Same exact play, just recycled. And when you really start lining up all the moves side by side, the picture gets crystal clear. Ross been eating good for years off the names and struggles of men who couldn't defend themselves, flipping their real-life weight into his own rap persona. And now, allegedly, he's running the same hustle on Big Meech. Truth be told, dudes who move like that can hardly ever be trusted. No surprise here, 50 Cent been saying it from day one, making it clear he never respected Ross as a man, not then, not now.
Is there anything about Ross and his career that you have any respect for?
No, there's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
And of course, the online chatter been crazy loud. Comment sections lit up with folks going in. One dude hit hard, saying straight up, Rick Ross is a fraud. Another wrote, Ross messed him up bad, used him and dipped. The takes keep piling in, all asking the same question. At the end of the day, is Ross just playing the industry game like a pro hustler? Or did he really leave Big Meech stranded with nothing to show? Is Meech's loyalty misplaced, or did he just get played out for clout? Say what you think in the comments, smash that like, subscribe, and peep the next video on your screen.